Alright, ebusuya mamu na makwa basonko so eba Ghana Politics Avenue. Ahaya GH Politics Avenue. Ahana open all the trending political stories in Ghana. Unsabi to me. Aka na ebusuya na story de bedum mi. Da musonko ensembia nya bon de bede eye OSPs ensemi aba court ahye OSP se ontimi embo obi akwadu ewo man Ghana ho nsem ni bi na yenya ye pese de besum ye tifo ne ahwefo. Na emunchiremu a ebani before I be chirimu no nani dedi kan abacha na yi so ebe oda mani di no bu kwan se be so se obe subscribe to channel no bo subscribe button so na afi so wi a notification bell na do ma na won che won ado sabo se be ya video we ni video of rubi e ba be do mu bia no on sabi tumi aka ne ntem no hu de ekoso Ghana ya manyo sem ne ye kebi memi kebi amamu ni so na afi so we are yes no de ekoso Ghana ya manyo sem so na fast forward memorial story ni OSP sense mi ena yewura former special prosecutor Ǎrrǒřǎnt Alamisi Amidu edin se bia betudwa se kuseda ben obi a onse da mfa ni die ni obu ma obi biara a one ne ye adwuma enu nti na saa nwema ya ofem na obi a obu ade a na so obi a otie nipa senka o submit for a request for saa AI no free attorney general officer be obi tuma bokọ adunya nso ahantan ni dwenti onye na ono de obetunufu se as eja as papa as brapani se onye de senya fata se be ya ni case ni bitumi ato akoso nya sa de a or risk ono no own cases ensemi mata mi dudi betudwa wa bra na OSP any attorney general ensemi ekoso court or several posts no making no Facebook mi enkonyi ko chinchi me ba de jubi ani me cha Ghana Politics Avenue open all the trending podcast stories in Ghana na unsabe ka mi go ti Ǎrrǒřǎnt Alamisi Amidu ba de jubi ani sanu mbeche mi go ti.
Well, so that's Dr. Justice Adam Sremsai there with that conversation with my colleague Eric Mawana Egbata on this. That point that he ended on, that Mawana asked a question about this seeming tensions and tough war between the Attorney General's office and the Special Prosecutor's office. He says they've been collaborating, they are working, and there's no tough war. And private legal practitioner Henry Mamhes is going to be joining us in a bit. That particular issue that he answered to is what the former special prosecutor or the first special prosecutor of the Republic of Ghana, Martin Alamisi Burns Kaiser Amidu, has also been writing about this. He says the relationship between the special prosecutor and the Attorney General under this government has broken down beyond repair. But Dr. Sremsai says they have a good relationship. They've been collaborating and working, okay? And then again, whose report are you going to believe? It's a matter that obviously has to be gotten into. The Attorney General's statement of case does not appear to objectively, neutrally, and impartially present an ethical response to the plaintiff's case. And in this matter, they're talking about, he's referring to Noah Adamte, that's Tete's case. He says that the Attorney General's statement of case does not appear objectively, neutrally, and impartially, and in fact present an ethical response to the plaintiff's case. There was no tough war between the special prosecutor and the Attorney General during my tenure to warrant a challenge about the constitutionality of the said office, the special prosecutor. Martin Amidu continues that the Attorney General's statement of case does not even hide his partisan interest in the plaintiff's case when he fails to show which portion of the plaintiff's case the court should dismiss. This is just portions of Martin Alamisi Burns Kaiser Amidu, the former special prosecutor's position on what has been playing out between the Attorney General and the special prosecutor's office. On the matter of authorization, you hear Justice Adam Sremsai says the special prosecutor does not want to come for authorization. We understand the special prosecutor's position is the office is independent, so why do they have to come for authorization? But then you hear the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, reference Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution. So at the heart of all of this is whether or not the special prosecutor needs authorization to prosecute cases that it is pursuing. Lawyer Henry Mamhes, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Thanks for having me. Christian.
Are you able to put the video on for us?
Yes.
I think
it's on.
No, unfortunately. It's not. Oh, okay.
It's on. It's coming from your side.
Okay. I think you just have to put it on for us while we run through. But I'm just going to kindly stay with me while I run through Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution, specifically on the matter of the Attorney General, the reference that he makes. That one, there shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be a Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. 2, the Attorney General shall discharge such other duties of a legal nature as may be referred or assigned to him by the President, or imposed on him by this Constitution or any other law. 3, the Attorney General shall be responsible for the initiation and conduct of all prosecutions of criminal offenses. And this is where the emphasis is on, Article 88(4). All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by the Attorney General in accordance with any law. This is where the issues really are, and why all of this is playing out the way it is as we speak, and also why the Deputy Attorney General, you hear him raise issues regarding the position that the Special Prosecutor has taken on this particular issue of whether it needs authorization or not. Let's go to Christian Mamahese right now. He is private legal practitioner. Counsel, good evening. Can you hear us clearly now?
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
And first of all, I want to find out from you your thoughts on this, how this matter has been playing out, and listening to the Deputy Attorney General specific on the matter of authorization. He says, well, the law is clear in Article 88(4). That is what they are only going by, the orders of the High Court to execute what the High Court has told them to do. And if the Special Prosecutor needs authorization as enshrined in the law, he must come. It will only be an issue if he is denied authorization on any case that he is prosecuting. Then we can talk about a turf war. Until then, he says there is none. Your thoughts on this?
Yes, good evening to you and your viewers. Indeed, I mean, we are governed by rules and regulations. And in legal theory and jurisprudence, for a legal society or for a legal system to exist, it is hedged on secondary rules. And secondary rules are meant to ensure that there is certainty in law, which cures the primary rule, where in the primary rule there is no uncertainty. Indeed, the OSP Act was promulgated in order to cure a certain mischief which existed in the primary rule. Now, the OSP Act, as it's presented, has section, aside the objects of it, and then looking at section 1, section 3, and section 4.2. Section 4.2 deals with the fact that the OSP has to seek the authorization of the Attorney General when it comes to its prosecutorial powers. Now, when you look at the objects of it too, it indicates that the OSP is vested with both investigative and then prosecutorial powers. Now, the first one is very, very, very solidified. The second one makes the OSP subjudicated to, or its function of prosecutorial powers is subject to that of the Attorney General. So, in the quest for the OSP, whenever it seeks to prosecute any of its corruption and corruption-related cases in court, then it needs that authorization or executive instrument from the Attorney General's office in order to do so. And where it seeks to carry out that, then we would say that there has been a statutory breach. And to that extent, that statutory breach ought to be cured in order for the OSP to have recourse to that particular function. Because by the wording, by the text and context, or the statutory interpretation of it, subject to Section 10 of the Interpretation Act, the OSP is enjoined to seek that clearance or such leave or such authorization from the Attorney General in order to carry out that function. It does not mean to say that the OSP's prosecutorial powers has been taken away from it. No, because we have other state prosecutorial agencies that seek same leave, or when we say leave is permission, that seek such leave from the Attorney General to carry out such procedural functions. And for the fact that the act that gave birth to the OSP never gave the OSP that autonomy in terms of prosecutorial powers, then whatever is vested or whatever is crafted in that particular act is the function that OSP must carry itself in. So OSP cannot carry itself out of that particular function, but the grand norm, that is the law that, or the rule that it traces its powers to, is that which it must rail itself and function accordingly in order to attain the end of whatever it seeks to do. So in all of it, it is more of a collaborative function between the office of the OSP and that of the office of the Attorney General.
Do you get the sense that do you get the sense that that collaboration still exists, or, as it were, Martin Amidu says there's clear indication that collaboration has broken down, and that's why it's playing out the way we are seeing it right now?
I mean, obviously, to the general public, the cracks are showing, and indeed, the only way that this could be rectified is where the Constitution is amended in terms of the powers of the Attorney General. And it is for the framers to decide whether this subjudicated authority would exist between the Attorney General's office, or, yes, the Attorney General's office and the OSP, or it would decouple the OSP to run a parallel prosecutorial powers with the Attorney General. Because if you look at the statute, it is what it is. And indeed, if you further verse to what the court did at GJ 10, the court has every right in order to deal with constitutional matters. I mean, I am at odds with a number of lawyers who have been on other platforms to say that the High Court had no jurisdiction in dealing with constitutional matters. And I shudder to say that.
No, not necessarily constitutional matter. There was the question was about the interpretation, the powers of interpretation, which is the exclusive jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, is it not? I mean, I think that's quite clear and it's elementary. Now, that was where the High Court's powers were called into question on the matter of whether or not it had the power to interpret the specific provision of Article 88 as and how it impacts on the law that establishes the office of the special prosecutor. That was where the matter of the Supreme Court having the powers, the exclusive jurisdiction to interpret.
If I would hollow a bit on it, I would say that yes, under Article 2.1 and Article 130, individuals can bring matters to the Supreme Court for constitutional interpretation. And in dealing with the Supreme Court's powers are vested in exclusive original jurisdiction, enforcement powers, final appellate jurisdiction, and then supervisory jurisdiction, including habeas corpus and mandamus. Now, if you come to the High Court also exercises general jurisdiction in criminal and civil matters. It also has jurisdiction in fundamental human rights, referral matters under Article 132, and also when it comes to interpretation, it has a limit to what it can do. Now, this limit was hallowed in the case of the Republic versus Mike Kankan and others in 1971 1973, where it indicated that when it has to do with ambiguity, then the High Court ought to refer the matter to the Supreme Court, because if it does not do that, then it is extending its powers into unwelcome territories, and that would cause that decision to be quashed. Now, it was further enforced in the case of ex-party Dr. Zenator Ajiman Rawlings, where the Supreme Court had the opportunity to say that when it comes to constitutional interpretation, the High Court can only engage in what we call the application, so that we have just made it in the simple terms that the litmus test is, will the High Court exercise applicatory jurisdiction to constitutional provisions? If it seeks to do that, then we say that the High Court's powers is intact, or its jurisdiction has properly been invoked, albeit so that the High Court will deal with the normal constitutional matters that comes before it. But then if it has to do with enforcement, then that would mean that the High Court would have to stay proceeding. That was what what's his name?
Okay, so I get the point. I think you've established the issues to the perspective of how far the High Court can go in the matters of interpretation. This is a matter that is rolling out in many ways. So we're going to stay the steam on it, as we await how things will play out in the coming days. Christian Mamhesi, thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. He is a private legal practitioner. Now, coming up next, a preliminary report on the Tema microlight aircraft crash reveals that the engine of the Accra-bound aircraft Ghana Tonight, investigations into the fatal microlight aircraft crash at the Tema Metropolitan Assembly Daycare School at Tema Community 1 are progressing steadily. Now, with a final report, we understand, expected by May 29, the Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau has announced earlier today. The Bureau said it had completed the preliminary phase of the probe and was awaiting critical inputs, including autopsy findings to determine the exact cause and contributory factors of the accident. At a press briefing in Accra, the commissioner of the Accident Investigation Bureau, Ghana, John Wumbati, explained that the update was issued in line with both national and international civil aviation organization requirements. Now, you recall this led to the death of two brothers who were in this light aircraft, the pilots in there, unfortunately. Now, based on the pointers in the preliminary reports that the Accident Investigation Bureau put out, they said to date, the investigation has used following sources for its information gathering. They used the crash site data collected by the PIT, including the use of drones, interviews with eyewitnesses at the crash site, and then also the witness interviews. They use interviews with the whole airport management and stuff. And here's the reason why: because this aircraft flew from Ho, and the destination was Accra. Now, so they had to get some information from them. The media interviews as well, like what we did here on Ghana Tonight when the incident happened. We went to the location live and then get some more updates on there as well. They got all the information from us and many other media houses as well who conducted investigations with the eyewitnesses on ground. Also, the CCTV footage and social media. The say the air traffic control transcript and radar data was also collected. The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority records on the subject aircraft and the crew, and information from the accredited representative and advisor, records from previous employer of these of the pilots, and then factual information from the internet as well. All of this they've been looking into. Let's have a conversation with Wing Commander Patrick Sogbojo, retired. He's an experienced man in this particular area. Wing Commander Patrick Sogbojo, retired. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Now, we ran through the details of the preliminary report as was put together and also put out by the Accident Investigation Bureau earlier today. And with what we have run through so far and what the sticky points are for you, what should be the thinking going forward, especially taking into consideration what we're being told now and what is expected on May 29?
Well, a pilot may have all the requisite qualifications, medically, flight standards, and risk. But don't forget you are flying a machine. Anything can happen. I mean, say emergencies like malfunction of the aeroplane. Being the quality pilot he was, the flight hours he had, then the performance of the trip, as requested to do, should have been done perfectly. I'm at a loss if he took off from Ho and professors coming down to Accra. I don't understand why he ended up in Tema. For the track from Ho to Accra, you don't overfly them. And as the Board of Inquiry stated, the radar picked him up flying between 3,000 and I saw 100 feet. So what really happened? What was it doing around Tema? You may be the best astronaut. You don't fly according to what you've been taught or what to do. It's like a racing driver.
All right, it's if we're the moon lama system majibre, namudeti, and then namudifre, so then the yan higher Ghana Politics Avenue, AG Politics Avenue, all the trending podcast stories in Ghana. Ayana onsa betumi akan any dedi kan bacha na yusua. Adaru mani you know book as the best source all some notification bell no so. Say be a video for bia before that no be subscribe. Yes, subscribe we na notification bell say be a video for bia ba be dum bia no come on mo di kan ho mo say betuma kan tem say be a so betumi hu de. Ekoso Ghana amanyo sem ne yeke mami ke bi amamu ni so afi we video be dum mi. Wani ji one one like video no share ama foforo so anya bi. Wani ji video be dum I would like ya no share ama foforo so anya video yi bi. Na omuzo atime hu de ekoso Ghana amanyo sem ne yeke mami ke bi amamu eyi hu. We are comment section let us know what you think. Chira wadu na menchira madi ne chira ya na in our own small way no. Nya hwe de bitima ya abo ama Ghana amanyo sem etumpo na akoso dem na masama de brecha Ghana Police Avenue Accra.